Seamra Arda has chosen to lift the curtain on her heart, and the entertainment world is buzzing with questions. Why do her romances seem to burn bright and fade fast? You're watching Secrets Behind the Stars. Before we dive in, hit subscribe and help us grow. Your support keeps stories like this coming. For years, the public has dissected every glance and gesture between Cemre and Gökberk Yıldırım. From candid on-set moments to carefully curated social media posts, their names have headlined countless magazine covers. Cemre, often celebrated for her glow, her confidence, and her quick wit, startled many with a confession that didn't fit the stereotype. In an interview that ricocheted across the industry, she said, "I'm not an emotional person at all," a sentence that redrew the map of how everyone reads her relationships. Those words didn't sound cold, they sounded deliberate. Like someone who learned early to hold her center no matter how loud the crowd cheered. Cemre's rise happened fast. One project turned into another, and her face was suddenly everywhere. With the spotlight came the relentless hum of speculation. The stories about her early romances were mostly whispers, the sort of memories that never fully formed in public view. But later connections, especially those orbiting her now public bond with Gawkberg, were picked apart frame by frame. She has admitted that at the beginning of her career, navigating intimacy under a microscope was difficult. The media frenzy had a way of snipping the thin threads of trust just when they were beginning to hold. Sometimes, she said quietly, people recognize the character I play more than the woman I am. That kind of misunderstanding pushes lovers apart. It was a revelation that left admirers protective of her and, for some, unexpectedly sad. Fans had assumed the Cemre who lights up a scene would thunder through her love life with that same electric intensity. The truth is subtler. She loves the idea of love. She just wants it to fit in her hands without spilling, to be right rather than reckless. Even the narrative around her and Gawkberg has occasionally been tossed around by tabloids eager for a feud. In one cycle of headlines, a vague post from him, taken out of context and decorated with guesses, ignited rumors about a rift. Cemre later insisted most of those interpretations missed the point completely. Her boundaries, she explained, are not walls but guardrails. Privacy matters. Not everything tender has to be public to be real. When Cemre speaks about the past, she doesn't sound bitter. She sounds older in the best way. Each step, each mistake, each almost, they're part of her education. Every relationship, she has said, teaches you something. Failure isn't a verdict, it's a lesson. For me, love isn't only butterflies, it's practice, growth, and honesty. In that light, recent years make more sense. Rumors have ebbed and surged, especially online, fed by cryptic captions and comments from sources who couldn't resist adding a little spice. Sometimes an ex's offhand remark became a snowball of speculation, sometimes it was Cemre's own clipped phrasing, calculated to keep the parts that mattered out of reach, that lit another fire. And the audience responded, predictably, with a choir of opinions. Seamra Arda is direct and grounded, this confession proves it, wrote one viewer. If connections fade quickly, the reason is obvious, Cemre doesn't bond emotionally, argued another. A romantic? I doubt it, her vibe is modern, self-sufficient, someone else insisted. Her honesty shocked me, but I love it, it's a brave stance, another added. She isn't playing games. She's protecting herself, and that's smart, concluded a fan who has followed her from the beginning. The conversation was loud, but if you listened carefully, the undercurrent was empathy. People recognized themselves in her restraint. Cemre clarified her perspective again, this time in words that felt stitched with care. I wouldn't call myself sentimental, but that doesn't mean I don't believe in love. It means I experience it differently. The nuance mattered. It explained why she sometimes appears composed to the point of distance, even beside someone as charismatic and open as Gawkberg. Behind the scenes of recent shoots, their interactions were affectionate yet contained, inside jokes traded in passing, a quick squeeze of the hand before the cameras rolled, then back to the work. Fans clipped these moments into edits, analyzing micro-expressions like clues. The crew whispered too, in that unguarded way crews do. And the photos didn't lie. The chemistry was real, but so was the discipline. Her reflections circled back to learning. We collect experience in every love story, Cemre said. Sometimes we stumble, sometimes we soar, but either way, we learn. Love is an education. It landed because people have watched her weather chatter for years. The shorter chapters, those relationships that ran on adrenaline and ended on pressure, were fodder for the tabloids, and they made her an easy headline. Was she emotionally unavailable? Or simply playing a long game in a world addicted to spectacle? The debate became a recurring panel show topic, with commentators painting her as either too cautious or perfectly calibrated for modern life. Cemre's take is simpler. If the emotional link frays, the bond won't hold, no amount of grand gestures can keep it together. That realism, she admits, can make goodbyes arrive earlier. But it also prevents drawn-out heartbreaks performed for an audience. She knows this frustrates some fans who crave a sweeping love story with no pauses. Others applaud the restraint, and they see in her a woman deciding not to bleed for applause. And then there's Gawkberg, whose own journey is woven into hers. His posts, sometimes wistful, sometimes bold, are interpreted as secret chapters. One cryptic caption sparked a week of think pieces. Those who know them say the truth is far less theatrical. They are two professionals navigating a personal connection under a magnifying glass, building something that doesn't need a play-by-play. Still, curiosity grows with every statement. Cemre's recent interview sent social media into overdrive. Her lines trended for days, quoted and requoted, each reading a little different depending on who held the lens. Admirers praised her candor, critics called her closed off. The conversation spilled into evening shows and gossip blogs that clipped old footage to make new arguments. But if you watch closely, a pattern emerges. The more she chooses intention over impulse, the more steadily she seems to stand. These days, Cemre has slowed her pace in public romance. She's selective, putting her career first and letting her private world breathe. I'm waiting for what feels right, she shared. I'm not in a rush. That was not a snub to love. It was a promise to herself. The reaction was quick admiration wrapped in curiosity. Many felt it, she's learned to choose gently. And it shows. Those close to her say she is sharper now about what nourishes her and what drains her. The same instincts that guide her roles guide her heart. If it doesn't ring true, she won't force it. Commentators gave that attitude a glossy name, a wise woman waiting for love, and the phrase stuck. It echoed in captions, skittered through timeline after timeline, and kicked off loyal debates among those who follow both Cemre and Gökberk. Together or apart, professional or personal, they keep people watching. Part of the magic lies in what they don't say. The careful silences make room for imagination, and yet, when they do speak, the words carry weight. Cemre's outlook on love is very much a portrait of the present day. She may not build relationships that last a decade just to satisfy a narrative, but she's also not turning her back on tenderness. She is simply adjusting the tempo. On set, she remains consistent, focused, friendly, and measured, the same balance she tries to keep at home. You can see the lessons in her posture. She does not run from emotions, she organizes them, the way an athlete trains muscles to move without injury. And if you look at how she and Gawkberg move around each other in public. Respectful distance, shared laughter, that conspiratorial glance. It's clear there is an understanding that doesn't need billboard declarations. Entertainment programs have turned this into a meta-story, a narrative about how two people build something away from the noise. New clips, new interviews, new posts, they become breadcrumbs for an audience hungry for resolution. An innocent comment from Cemre becomes a headline. A short caption from Gawkberg becomes a theory. But that momentum keeps them in the cultural conversation, and their following feels intimate because of it. The people watching don't just want updates, they want to understand how these two navigate a storm politely called fame. What Cemre has revealed is that her heart is not a performance prop. She will not hand it to the highest bidder, nor will she pretend to be a damsel in a story written by algorithms. Those who expected pure softness may be surprised. But complexity has its own allure. In each interview, she offers a small key, no more, no less. She trusts the audience to put it together or not. And as for Gawkberg, he seems to understand that this quiet is part of what makes the bond durable, even when rumors attempt to stretch it thin. So here we are, in a moment that feels both delicate and strong. Cemre prefers caution, prefers equilibrium. She admits connecting deeply can be challenging, but she never suggests love is trivial. Quite the opposite. For her, love is a classroom, a long walk, a discipline. Each romance, whether with Gawkberg at her side or in the chapters that led her to him, leaves a map of lessons behind. She studies those maps. She carries them forward. If you want the truth told simply, this is it. Seamra Arda holds her feelings with intention, and the world is learning how to respect that. She is not cold, she is careful. She does not flee intimacy, she rejects theatrics. And in a culture that rewards spectacle, that choice is its own kind of rebellion. No wonder every gesture between her and Gawkberg feels like a headline waiting to happen. People are invested. They want to see what shape this story takes, whether it's a quiet commitment made off camera or a public declaration when the time is right. You've been watching Secrets Behind the Stars. Stay with us for every twist and truth as it happens. Subscribe and turn on notifications so you never miss our exclusive insights, interviews, and behind-the-scenes whispers. We're reading your thoughts. Tell us what you make of Cemre's view of love. Is she a woman who loves wisely, or someone still learning how to bridge that emotional distance? Share your take below. We'll see you in the next video, where the heart speaks softly, and we listen closely.